My name's Ben, and this is the story of how I went from nearly bankrupt to growing over a 7-figure crypto portfolio by the age of 26. I work with thousands of clients around the world. My company, Collective Shift, does over 7 figures every single month, and being able to be very fortunate enough to help a lot of people, including now buying my parents a house, which is absolutely epic. We work with like Coinbase as one of our clients, and now we do research and help people around the world help themselves with their crypto, and maybe follow some of my journey where I've just literally started out with a bunk bed with my brother in a small town in Australia. Now I get to fly across the world, and today I thought, why not? We do this little vlog video for the first time ever. I'm not sure if you've seen that. Flying on a private jet, which is insane. And I thought, well, let's do a little video to take a story of how I got here and how you can follow the journey. My hope is that by the end of this video, you can take my blueprint on how I went from literally no money to where I am today to help you follow along. And generally, I'm on a bit of a mission to try and help other people build their own worlds, escape the rat race, and enjoy their life. Today, I'm going to share with you all those insights that I've never really shared publicly before. When I was 16, living in Tasmania, a small island in Australia, I literally had no idea really what I was going to do. My parents rented, they still do to this day, but they always instilled, in me that if I ever wanted to go out and get after it, and they get anything, whether it be a mobile phone, whether it's some extra credit to call people, or whether it's to go out and buy a t-shirt, I had to go work for that. And that was, so good when I was early on, not starting with anything and, building up my life. Essentially, mum and dad instilled so many great valuable traits in me, and I'm so grateful for them when I was, earlier on. And everyone else in my family been so supportive along the journey, but it's been kind of crazy that entire time. Like when I first started, I had no direction. I was trying to figure out where to go, what to do. I hated school. I didn't really fit in too well. So many things just didn't really fit for me. Essentially, I found the internet and business. When I was 16, I started a sportswear business. I was manufacturing uniforms. I was using Alibaba to find sports uniforms over in China. And I built this like sports uniform business that was selling uniforms to sporting teams back in Tasmania. And the first sale I ever made, I had no idea what I was doing. I was searching online, got these uniforms and had no idea if they'd be any good. I had a business idea and I shared this with the sporting team in Tasmania. And I remember I got an invoice for $3,000 and the uniforms cost me for $2,000. It changed my world. I made $1,000 cash in my bank. Honestly changed the direction of my life. And that was the first step along the journey of starting with business. And literally I was doing anything to make any money I could. And I was trying to figure it out. By the way, that business, was very, very difficult. I had no idea what I was doing, made so many mistakes. But, being able to earn additional income and realizing that to get ahead, you have to find new income. It's all well and good to save a cup of coffee a day, but saving a cup of coffee is not going to make you wealthy. It's not going to get you out of the rat race. You've got to be able to find a way to get new income and build your assets. Now, when I started that business, we obviously sending a lot of money over to China every month, and I was trying to find a different way to send money because it kept getting blocked by banks, and I was losing so much money on the conversion rate. And that's when I discovered crypto, and that was back in 2017. An old friend of mine introduced me to Bitcoin, and it blew my mind. We're sitting over at a desk. He transferred me some Bitcoin at the time back in 2017. I was 17 years old back then. It was insane. I had no idea how he could just send me money peer-to-peer without the use of the bank. And I went on this 6-month journey to try and figure it out because there was so much awful information online. I couldn't figure out how Bitcoin was different to Ethereum and all these people online creating all these different bits of content, telling you different things. It was the Wild West. I remember ICOs back in the day, this was before NFTs. So the founder of Ethereum came down to Sydney, and I remember when ETH was $80, and he did a talk at a conference that I went to, and I remember just blowing my mind about decentralized finance, about the blockchain, and Bitcoin was just going to change the world. I started work with my friend who was a YouTube crypto influencer at the time, and I learned all about the game. I learned about crypto, and honestly, I went all in. I had no idea what I was doing. Everyone thought I was wild. I remember going home and telling mum and dad that like, hey, I'm like getting rid of my business. They backed me and allowed me to quit school and continue it. If I didn't make enough money for a salary, mum and dad were going to send me back to school. So I had 1 year, did my sportswear business for a bit, and then started to go all in on crypto. I remember when I was telling mum and dad, but I'm going all in on Bitcoin, and they're like, what on earth are you talking about? What is Bitcoin? I was 18 at the time, but none of my friends understood it. To this day, probably not a lot of them still do. But, I remember buying Ethereum at $80, bought a lot back then, wish I bought more, was buying Bitcoin in the low thousands, and it was a different world, and no one really believed it. It wasn't an asset. You couldn't really find it anywhere online. The fact that I went all in, everyone just thought I was absolutely insane. It was tough. Like as an 18-year-old growing up, 19, 20, I left school, didn't have a lot of friends. No one really understood what the hell I was doing, but I was just like driven. I knew that Bitcoin was going to be massive. I knew the opportunity, and I started working with my old friend in this YouTube influence game and learn about YouTube influencers, learn about the business, learn about the good and the bad of that model. And that was, 8 or 9 years ago. Made a lot of money on paper, round trip my first cycle. because I had no exit strategy, had no real idea what I was doing. I understood, I knew the opportunity was there, but I had no accountability, no research, no insights, and it was a wild time back then. So after I round tripped all of that money, I was literally like 19, 20 years old. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars on paper. I round tripped the entire thing, and when it went back to down like 80, 90%, it was the worst feeling ever. I remember like sitting there like thinking, you know, no one's gonna save me, no one's gonna like help me out. I had to kind of rebuild it from scratch again, which was sickening. 20-year-old, you're already spending that money when you've got it. Maybe some of you have been in the same position where you made a lot of money in crypto, you already know what you're going to spend it. And then, yeah, I round trip the entire thing. And that was so painful. And I had no roadmap back then. I had no real mentor, no strategy, no insights, no accountability, no coaching. And that's when I knew things had to change. And that's when I got in and dialed in for the next cycle, which was the 2021 bull market. So after doing that and round tripping that, a couple of years later, I was still doing the same thing by following influencers. I actually got caught up with this guy, a YouTuber. Maybe some of you have been in the same boat, where essentially like I was just listening to this guy had this theory about the market. And this was when, Bitcoin was in maybe like 15,000, 20,000. And he was talking about this theory. It was hyperwave theory. For those of you that have been around for 9 years, the Bitcoin was going to crash down to $100. And, making this mistake and like at the time, like trying to still figure it out, make this money. I had no education. I was still living at home and I was listening to what I thought were gurus online trying to, tell me how to trade, how to invest. I was making those mistakes and it turned out to be completely wrong. And, I lost a lot of money because I sold out trying to time the markets, thinking there was like some theory, some technical analysis way that can kind of predict the markets. And that's when I realized that this whole game was backwards. YouTubers are there. They're not right. This guy who I was following is gone now. And the YouTube influencer I used to work for, I don't work with anymore. And, obviously there's some good crypto YouTube influencers, don't get me wrong, but like so many people online are not there to give you the best interest at all. They've got these crazy theories. They're there to get used through some affiliate links. And when I realized that all that was the wrong way, and I actually started working with Matt, our now director of research here at Collective Shift, everything changed. And I remember my portfolio shooting up, above 6 figures, and everything started to change. And for someone that, basically started out with nothing and, living back at home, I was able to move over to mainland of Australia, Melbourne, and everything was different. Life was an absolute dream. I wasn't sharing my bunk bed with my brother anymore. I had my own apartment in Melbourne and I was working, I was grinding, and realized that, getting the right insights from someone that you can trust just changed the game for me. And my vision of like where things were going were the future of money and talking about like how money can kind of change you. It was a long way out of reach, to be honest. The first like big check I had and making that was taking mum and dad out for lunch, or we had a family lunch and I paid for it. I felt like so motivated and so excited to be able to take them out for lunch, and it was insane time because I still had no idea what I was doing. It was still so early on, but being able to provide for my family, look after them for when they helped me out so much when I was younger and gave me the confidence and the ability to go out and get after it, just changed the game. But again, by doing that, I had this money in my crypto portfolio, but I still had no idea what I was doing, right? I had a guy that was helping me out. Having that kind of money at like 21, 22 was just insane, and I had no sell plan. I had like no risk management. It was literally just like vibes and hope. So, as my portfolio climbed into hundreds of thousands just as quickly from the highest level to everything literally crashing overnight was absolutely sickening. And, there was the business I used to work for, like I put so much money into that and it just all came tumbling down. And it was the hardest 2 years of my life. Like we were doing a crypto education business. It was his business I was working for. And unfortunately, it just went south and so quickly. I basically lost the business. I was trying to build Collective Shift at the time to, educate others. And that's how I was kind of getting in the game. It all basically went to zero overnight. My portfolio got wiped out and I was trying to keep this business alive with my own money, and essentially we went bankrupt multiple times. It was the worst time of my life. It was a nightmare. For 2 years I was too scared to kind of leave the house. I was like socially so shot to pieces. I was so stressed. I wasn't sleeping well because I was building this business with him, and as it all went south, it was nuts. We were trying to raise money to keep it alive. I put all my money I had. I sold a lot of cryptos. I had this huge tax debt and we were literally losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. It was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. For 2 years it was like no money. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't figure it out and just was really questioning everything. And if I failed, I was going to essentially be bankrupt. I had no crypto and I would have had to start basically from zero again, which was so scary. But then I vividly remember this one moment after grinding it and bringing it back over the next couple of years, and that was when I took profits on a couple of investments, or one in particular I made in the metaverse. And this is where I got in early in the metaverse, with my now director of research Matt. We were working on some of the investments at the time. This before Facebook renamed to Meta. This was like the Decentraland times. It was a huge narrative, and I was early in a couple of investments that went like absolutely crazy when Facebook renamed to Meta. We thought the narrative was going to be big. It turned out to be true, and we got out like 30, 40x returns, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars arrived in my bank account. When that arrived, it was absolutely wild, and that was the turning point. That was like, okay, cool. If I can make it through what I went through and still know the investment side of crypto, and I have dialed in the strategy side, so I was able to avoid round tripping again, having the research to find the narratives and find the process and build myself back up from literally having nothing to doing it again. I was like, okay, we're back. And that's what I was like, let's fucking go. And that's, exactly what I did. And that's where I had my, director of research, Matt. I had some good help and support from my sort of friends at the time. And together we created this structure and we dived deep into research. We studied the fundamentals. We studied to build the on-chain analysis, build the real systems, the 7-step process, and knew what was possible, following and avoiding what everyone else is doing in the space. All these influencers, all they do is they create these crazy thumbnails, give you crazy hype, crazy dreams, sell the dream to get you in, watch their views, and then essentially get you on their affiliate link. That's how they made money. And I wanted to change the game because I saw what happened with my previous business that I was in, and I wanted to be new. I want to be fresh. I want to be independent. And I thought with the process that we have, that I found so much easier to understand, a simple process, a 7-step strategy process, using on-trend analysis fundamentals and not technicals, because everyone uses technicals. The real edge we had was fundamentals, finding good projects and narratives before they came. That's what's made us so much money. Could take that process and help other people do the same. But then if we win, then our clients win and we get paid. And with the profits we make, we can buy more crypto. That's the only way we make money in this business, which was completely different than anyone else. And it was so hard at the time because crypto was down. This is after the metaverse, right? So after metaverse, this is maybe 22, 23, trying to build this thing out. People were throwing us all sorts of money, exchanges, sponsorships, affiliates, advertisers, and we said no to all of it. We turned down hundreds of thousands of dollars from advertisers wanting us to promote their crappy product to our audience because that's what all the other influencers did. But I really wanted to make it clear that we were not like that, and we were independent, and we only get paid for our research and our subscription fees, because that way it's based on results. Because if we're bad at what we do and we're not good at investing, then our clients don't make money. We went all in, and this time I brought in a team. I started hiring people, doubled down with the data and the precision that I knew of that process every hour, every day, literally for the last, we were about to turn 5 years old this business in October. We went all in, and ever since then I've been obsessed with trying to build this business because I know we can help so many people. And the stories we hear from our clients when they are able to actually build a portfolio and take profits, like some of the biggest stories I remember, like whether it be people paying off their mortgage with a Bitcoin, elderly people investing under retirement, going on trips, people just changing their life. A doctor came in and we, doubled her portfolio in a year. Like, we don't sell the dream. We help people through the process and systems that we worked on. And I'm obsessed with the game because there's so many awful companies out there that sell the dream, sell these pipe dreams, hit you stuck in all these bad investments. And I know because they go to them, then they come to us. And I'm just so obsessed in wanting to be Collective Shift, to be like the #1 crypto research company, but also having that community aspect as well. The community's been amazing, from doing in-person events, masterminds, etc. And that's where I want to be #1. As time scaled on after the metaverse, we took down and I realized that as investors, that the real results is in being in early, getting the right investments and having a process and having a strategy to get out at the right time. Because without an exit strategy, you've got no hope. And that's what I've seen with everyone. And you've been relentlessly consistent in building, from being sloppy and just buying anything and hoping to actually building a proper system, proper process, from running my investments like a business. And I realized that is the key to success for busy investors. Of course, if you're a trader, if you're full-time, look at the markets, different story. We help everyday people grow their portfolio, and it's down having a system, not trying to be a trader. And yeah, the vision for the company when we first started, our product was like $49 a month. We were just helping people in this sort of like a Facebook group. But the vision was to be a company to change the game for what crypto research is, and from a private little system to help us invest in our full-scale research process, where we take the same process that we've used ourselves to make life-changing amounts of money to help others. 5 years later has been absolutely insane to see the scale that we're at now. Like when we were just doing $250,000 a month to over 7 figures a month, and we've got thousands of clients around the world. We've got 200 high net worth clients in our platinum program, and the impact we have, like over hundreds of thousands of followers. I mean, I'm doing this vlog on a fucking private plane. Like, this is just insane. And by the way, I lead with education. I want everyone to see that we're not just putting out crap information. Like, at the end of the day, you can follow all our free information to get so far ahead. It was tough. And the difficulties of trying to grow this business was so hard. Like trying to hire team members, then you're in a bear market, and then you're trying to scale and you're trying to help different people. And I work one-on-one with all our clients up until the first few years. I was doing one-on-one calls with everyone, trying to get through and realizing, it's so hard to grow a business, and you've got to pay a lot of people, and you've got to pay tax, and you get, all this hate online from people who think you're just showboating all the time. It's relentless. You can never have a day off. Even when we're on holiday now, I can never really holiday. I'm waking up at 3 a.m. thinking about new things, thinking about things that are going on, things are burning. I've hired poor people have tried to steal money from me. It's the Wild West trying to grow a business. And I trust a lot of people, and that's probably been a downfall of me, trusting people too early. Yeah, it's been so tough. I try to rebuild all that money I put at the start and the investors' money we raised to pay them back. It's been a journey. And I remember at the bottom, I was literally living above a 7-Eleven in Bali. I was a nomad for a year because I couldn't afford to live anywhere. Living in this 1-bedroom, it wasn't even a bedroom, it was just a bed with a toilet, trying to keep this business alive. To think where I was then to now, insane. And to think back, from everything I've been through, the sleepless nights, the moments we nearly went bankrupt. I remember speaking to my bookkeeper going, we're actually got weeks left before we run out of money. And we are going to go all belly up. We have full-time employees. We're going to lose everything. All that weight on my back, the stress to where we are now, it completely changed my life forever. And scaling the business, again, going from where we were. Only 2 years ago, we get 6 figures in a month for the first time. And now to do multiple 7 figures a month consistently, scaling across the world, building our US office office now, doing a TEDx talk, speaking of, universities across the country, speaking different events around the world, consulted on major projects. I mean, Coinbase is a client of ours. That's absolutely wild, and helped thousands of people. And to get those messages of people like, Ben, like, you've helped me so much. The best ones, are like, not even when they're clients of ours, they just follow me on social media. They just made a bunch of money from following me online. Like, that's the best. And that's when, at the end of the day, like, from everything I built, to be able to help other people, like, I absolutely love, because I know that I'm doing a good job, and authenticity is so important to me. And that's why it's hard when, like, doing, like, this is just insane today. Obviously, like, this isn't like normal by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to show the real authenticity behind it, the journey. It's never been an overnight success. And, taking my team on the plane today, like, we've got my girlfriend Laura, his guys Josh, my marketing guy Zen. Like, taking these guys with me is epic, because this is so exciting for me, but also for everyone else in my company, to bring everyone on the journey to I absolutely love. So, crypto's been able to give me the freedom, building a team. That's what's really created an impact on me able to make at a global level. And this is all led to the moment I've dreamed of, honestly, ever since being pro, not that long ago. So one of the biggest goals I had, if you've been following me for a long time, wasn't about, buying a Rolex or, buying a Lamborghini. It was honestly about buying my parents a house. So I'm in that process right now. I'm so excited. They're literally down looking for properties at the moment. That's been a big goal of mine ever since day one. It's never been about the flashy things, and it means so much for me because they gave me so much belief and support when I first started. I did a podcast this morning and sharing about that, like, reflecting back, like, they gave me the mindset and they gave me the belief that I could do it. And mum's a school teacher and she let me quit school when I was younger, which is insane. And yeah, just thinking about them and what they gave up. And to me, like, as I've grown and realized, like, money to me isn't about flexing. It's actually being able to build, like, time freedom and experiences, like taking your girlfriend on cool things, my family, going on different holidays, but being able to generate time, like, to think like we're doing 7 figures a month in our business is absolutely wild for me. And money at a certain point, I've realized, doesn't really change anything, but the people you do it around and what you can do to save time. Like today, like, literally flying back from Brisbane to get back for a meeting before a big event I'm hosting tomorrow. this thing cost me $40,000 one way, which is insane. And I don't do that to showboat, but generally to showcase to you that it's buying back time for me to get back and do more things, help me grow the business and help more people. That's it. And the opportunities I had that I'm flying back for is that. And yeah, it's completely changed my life from, like, creating wealth, protecting it, risk to reward. And now I'm stressed about, how I can, maintain this and help other people maintain their wealth. Honestly, I've got everything I could ever ask for. I'm so grateful for the people around me, and it's a fascinating journey. Like, things are growing so fast, but it's so much fun. And now we're at this level. Now it's about maintaining the crypto strategies, not only growing my Bitcoin stack, but using property to diversify, investing for the long term. And more important than ever is my strategy. I continually update my strategy based on what our analysts are saying. For me personally, I'm growing my portfolio at such a rapid pace, and I want to make sure I'm in the right assets. And as I'm realizing, like, that exit strategy is so important, but timing is more important than ever. Like, no longer is it just a few $1,000s or tens of thousands of dollars. Like, I'm investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, 7 figures frequently. I need to make sure that strategy is right. At the end of the day, I build collective shift for me more than anyone, and that's been a huge advantage to be able to change the game. And throughout my journey, I've learned so many lessons, like, from growing my portfolio, being in crypto, being busy, trying to help other people in crypto. And I've seen everything in this space. Been scammed, lost money, been doing it for nine years. I've helped hundreds of clients, hundreds of thousands of people online my social media, but working one-on-one with people. Like, the biggest lessons I've learned, number one is don't round trip. It's so painful when you round trip and you're on the way down. Like, have a proper exit strategy, have a sell plan, know when you're taking profits, because making all that money and then watching it go down, absolutely sickening. Get the right people around you. Like, community is so big. That's why I'm trying to build the world's leading crypto and wealth-driven community in the world. Like, we do these amazing in-person platinum days where we have our clients come in and you get those real life experience. You meet other amazing people. You have to have that accountability. Without that accountability, I wouldn't have sold anything. So that's so important. And money is great, but the freedom is the real goal. I want to travel the world. I want to be able to do different things. I want to help my family out. I want to retire mom and dad. One day, probably retire myself in the next few years, but I love the game, love what you do, and build on the things that you're really good at. That's what I've learned. I'm shit at so many different things, but that little part that I am good at, like doubling down on that, has just made my life completely different. At the end of the day, like, money is great, but yeah, freedom is a real goal. I've learned. If you stay the game long enough and you're patient and you get through it, like, it's taken me 9 years to get to this point, and it's been so difficult on so many levels. That's how I've gotten here, to get through the dark times and the painful past. So that's how I went from really bankrupt to being a multi-millionaire at 26. And if you're serious about trying to build your crypto portfolio, honestly, if you're serious and you've got more than $100,000, you're wanting to invest more than $100,000, Platinum program is what I wish I had when I first started. It's changing the game. We are growing at such a rapid pace, and our clients have an amazing experience. You want to check it out. We do masterminds around the world, in-person events, coaching, our research platform. You get everything you need to grow your portfolio and not get stuck up with the crap and noise you get from influencers. So the link is in the bio. You do need to apply to join, because we work with only a certain few people, but click the button below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.